Now to our next big story. Avatar: The Last Airbender has been getting a ton of new updates lately, and one very important character from the show is here to share some thoughts. I actually don't know if that's a good grunt, a disappointed grunt, or if he is impatient just like we are. But hopefully after this next bit of news we're about to talk about, Appa's gonna be very happy. What's going on, everyone? James here with some real news, and any day is a good day to talk about Avatar: The Last Airbender, and more importantly, the future of the franchise. As you know on the channel, we've been covering a ton of new updates from Avatar Studios and from the live-action Netflix series, but today we're going to take a look at a timeline that was put together by Avatar News and discuss some of my most anticipated releases and some titles that might have flown under the radar. So well, before we get into it, trust me, there's a lot to get into. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit the big red button below and subscribe to the channel because, guys, we're going to be reacting live to the trailer whenever it drops for the Netflix series. I'm thinking sometime next month, but if it happens, we're definitely going to be reacting to it here on the channel. And hey, if you haven't already, hit that thumbs up button and get loud in the comments below and let me know which upcoming title in this franchise are you most excited for. Like I said, all of this news comes straight from Avatar News, and they're pretty reputable. They've been pretty spot on for the most part. So before we even get into the official timeline, you're gonna notice a few titles missing here. So there are some undated projects, according to Avatar News, that are in development or were in development. That's the Kyoshi animated movie, the Korra animated movie, which I am probably most excited for, and then the Next Earth Avatar animated movie. Now that's probably a big deal, right? The next Avatar being an Earth Avatar, that's something I'm sure a lot of fans are going to look at and try to, predict exactly who it could be. It's probably gonna be someone brand new, but do they have relations to anyone else in the franchise that we've come to love and adore? But honestly, the Korra animated movie is going to be the most popular one among all three of those undated projects, because Korra, to me, is a character that over time, I think more and more fans are growing to love again, or even love more. When I first watched Legend of Korra here on the channel, of course, with you guys, I was in love with that show. Alright, season 2, not great, but everything else is really, really solid, and this is a character that I feel like we haven't really gotten much more of outside of this show, so I'm hoping that we do get a deeper dive into her life, even her life after the show, which means some more Korra and Asami. We ship them. Still. Alrighty guys, so now it's time to dive into the news I'm sure you waited for, the full slate of films and TV shows that are expected to debut over the next 4 years. Now remember, these are all expected or predicted release dates. We'll get into it, see if maybe I agree with them or not, but let's start with Avatar: The Last Airbender Book 1 Water, the Netflix live-action series. The full cast has been revealed and confirmed by Netflix, but the only thing that hasn't been confirmed is one thing: the darn release date. We just don't know when. According to this timeline though, it seems that Avatar News thinks we're getting it summer 2023. In my opinion, that might be too late. I think that they need to debut the trailer and then the show no longer than a month afterward. And the reason I say that is because the hype for this series, right, this live action adaptation after the trailer drops, is going to be bonkers, right? It's going to be huge. Everyone's going to be talking about it, whether it's good or whether it's bad. But if you wait until summer 2023, because that's a pretty large window, a few months there, I just don't necessarily know if you're going to stand out as much, because you have other titles you're going to be competing with, especially on Netflix. The only reason why this summer prediction might actually turn out to be true, though, is because it's been long reported that Netflix is trying to distance this live-action series from Avatar: The Way of Water, which is still pulling in a lot of money worldwide. But if I had to, go by the eye test, I think Avatar: The Way of Water's hype is starting to die down just a little bit more day by day. So listen, I don't think Netflix should be scared anymore. Let's push this out end of February, beginning of March, even the end of March, whatever. Because don't wait till the summer. I think that's it's a little bit too long of a wait, you know what I mean? So I'm excited for it, and of course we're going to be covering it right here on the channel. But let's get into another summer project, well, projected summer project a couple years later in summer of 2025, and that is what Avatar News believes to be Book 2 Earth from this Netflix live-action series. Now, listen, Here's what I do know about Netflix, right? I mean, anyone that's been paying attention to the trends is gonna probably come to understand that Netflix, after one season of their original shows or their adapted shows, they usually don't get renewed, right? It's usually done after one season. However, it's Avatar. It's a huge name in IP, so you have to imagine that they do want to try and rake in on being the only ongoing or current Avatar The Last Airbender show or movie at the time, because you got Avatar Studios coming around the bend in 2025 starting to churn out some projects, you know what I mean? So you gotta kind of be on your toes if you're Netflix. So can I see it coming out in summer of 2025? That's maybe too generous. I think I would have just gone with a 2025, not a summer 2025, because listen, they haven't even made a single first look announcement or dropped a poster. I mean, who are we to even say that the first season comes out in summer of 2025? I'm sorry, 2023. What if it comes out late 2023? That pushes a whole lot of things back for this project. Next up on the timeline is the adult Team Avatar animated film that'll be coming via Avatar Studios, and that's expected October 10th, 2025. I guess Avatar News knows a lot of things that I don't, because the man put a date, a month, and a day on this one. So do I think Avatar Studios is going to kick off their animated films with something to do with, Aang and the gang? Of course, they have to. I mean, you can't just go in fresh like Earth Avatar, here's the first movie. How many people might resonate? But they see Aang, they resonate. They see Katara and Sokka and Zuko and Uncle Iroh, like, come on, like, people are gonna be putting their butts in those seats to watch this film, so it better get a wide release. I'm not playing with the Avatar Studios and Paramount. Make it happen. So rounding out the 2025 predictions is a winter 2025 release for New Earth Avatar's animated series. Now, listen, that might not happen because this is a series versus a film. Like, you got a lot more to deal with multiple episodes. So I think that we see that project get delayed just a little bit longer into 2026. And then you got to think about the fact that Avatar Studios, I mean, you would imagine they would have to hire multiple hands to work on the projects at the same time. Who's to say they haven't started, right? I get that. But that seems a little too generous. Not necessarily sure we get an animated film and an animated series in the same exact year from Avatar Studios. That's a lot. And this next title that I'm super excited for is the Zuko animated film from Avatar Studios. And lately, Avatar News has been confirming this date, and it seems to be October 9th, 2026. I believe this was supposed to come out in 2025, and then it got pushed back a little bit, which I guess kind of makes sense. You have to imagine DANTE BASCO is coming back to voice Zuko again, as we talked about on the channel in this animated film. There's no reason why he should step away from any of this. I think that this is his time to shine. DANTE BASCO is awesome, so he deserves another moment in the sun, of course. But the Zuko animated film is going to be really dope. But there is that large gap in a way, right? From the projected winter 2025 date for the animated series all the way to the following year in October. I think that is fine, to be honest. If Avatar Studios does too much in such a short period of time, they'll run the risk of just becoming at some point another, and I hate to say it, but Marvel Studios, where they churn out so many TV shows and movies in a single year like they did last year and the year before, and it actually exhausts people, so they probably don't want to get to that degree of production. And this is a series that I actually had not heard anything about before opening up this timeline, but there's an Avatar The Last Airbender spin-off animated series projected sometime in 2026. I have no predictions for this. I mean, what are we gonna do? We're gonna get a sitcom with Appa and Momo? That could work. But you guys let me know what spin-off animated series you'd like to see in the comments below. Let's go ahead and move on to a very interesting prediction here. Summer 2027 for Netflix's live-action series, and that would be Book 3, Fire. Now, if Netflix knocks it out of the park with Book 1, you can bet your bottom dollar they're going to renew it for 2 and 3 to see the project to completion. A lot rests on the public's perception and the critics' reviews for Book 1. And listen, I'm going to be honest, even though I love this franchise, I'm still going to be very honest about my review of Book 1. But I can definitely see Netflix doing something very rare for their standards, which is renewing a show through to its completion. I can see it happening here, especially if you get those stats that say book one of our live action Avatar The Last Airbender series is the most viewed title in 24 hours or something. If it starts beating Stranger Things records, 100% it gets renewed for seasons 2 and 3. If it gets close to beating Stranger Things records, I think we get just season 2 renewed, and then we'll see what happens from that point on. And the last two items here are an animated film expected in October 8th, 2027, and an animated series in 2027. I don't necessarily think that happens at all. I'm sorry, I don't see it. I mean, that would mean Avatar Studios would have to be working on several projects at once. I mean, in 2025 alone, the adult Team Avatar movie and the animated series for the Earth Avatar, and then in 2026, a spin-off series, and then a year later, you're getting an animated film and series? Like, I can't see it. I just cannot see that happening. They're going to have to stretch this out. And knowing the news that's been coming out of Avatar Studios with Brian Konietzko and Michael DiMartino talking about how they're taking their time with these projects, I don't see them going through this, because that would be a lot of churn over with employees. They'd probably be working a lot of long hours, a lot of crunch being put into these projects. So I can't see it happening. But that animated film, though, could that be in 2027, the Korra animated movie? Who knows, but I would love that. So there you have it, you guys. That's the complete timeline that Avatar News shared for the 2023 to 2027 slate of animated films, animated shows, and the live action adaptation on Netflix. Let me know down below your thoughts on this timeline and which title is, again, your favorite of this bunch. I'm looking at it right now, and I still am most anticipating the Netflix live action series, book one. We've been riding this wave for a while. The castings are perfect. I was just telling my girlfriend last night that Paul Sun-Hyung Lee is the perfect casting for Uncle Iroh. I don't think half of that cast joins unless they're confident in the direction there. So I'm excited for it. But guys, again, I cannot wait to talk more Avatar The Last Airbender as the year goes on. So hit the big red button below and subscribe so you stay tuned with all the news, info, and a ton of reactions and reviews, because your boy's going to be busy in 2023. Alrighty guys, again, thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you at the next screening. I'm still trying to figure out if Appa was happy or he was sad.